At 95, Clint Eastwood finally speaks up about Robert Redford. Clint Eastwood was born on May 31, 1930, in San Francisco, California. When he was growing up, his family had to move around a lot because of money problems during the Great Depression. They were looking for work before they finally settled down in California. Clint was tall and thin with a quiet confidence and handsome looks, but his early life didn't show signs he'd become a Hollywood star. He did all kinds of jobs. He was a lifeguard, fought forest fires, and worked with steel. While slowly getting interested in acting, his natural charm and presence eventually got him some small acting roles in the 1950s. But becoming famous didn't happen quickly or easily. His start in entertainment was all about never giving up, staying strong, and slowly climbing his way up to being recognized. Clint got his big break when he was chosen to play Rowdy Yates in the TV Western show Rawhide from 1959 to 1965. The show let him show off his tough, quiet personality and powerful screen presence, which became his trademark throughout his career. But his real jump to being an international star happened when he went to Italy to work with director Sergio Leone on the famous Dollars trilogy of spaghetti westerns, A Fistful of Dollars in 1964, For a Few Dollars More in 1965, and The Good, the Bad, and the Ugly in 1966. Playing the man with no name, Clint showed a completely new kind of Western hero. He was mysterious, didn't talk much, wasn't clearly good or bad, but was totally captivating to watch. These movies didn't just make him a cinema legend, they also changed what Western movies were like for a whole new generation. The success of those spaghetti westerns pushed Clint into the 1970s, where he started trying out different kinds of roles and working with different people. His role as Inspector Dirty Harry Callahan in the crime movie Dirty Harry in 1971 created another unforgettable character. The character was a tough San Francisco cop with a strong sense of justice who was willing to break the rules, and he became a cultural icon that appeared in several sequel movies. The line, "Do you feel lucky, punk?" became part of popular culture and is still one of the most repeated lines in movie history. Clint's performance as Harry Callahan really connected with audiences during a time of social unrest, expressing people's frustrations while also starting debates about law, justice, and taking matters into your own hands. Even though he was doing great as a leading actor, Clint wanted to have more control over his career, beyond just acting. He started his own production company called Malpaso Productions, which let him have more say in the films he made. He soon started working behind the camera too, directing and producing many different projects that let him try out different storytelling styles and explore themes about morality, redemption, and human complexity. His directing work started getting critical praise with early hits like Play Misty for Me in 1971, showing he was good at creating suspenseful stories. Over time, his work as a director got just as much respect as his acting. Clint's career as a director reached amazing heights with films like Unforgiven in 1992, which won him Academy Awards for both Best Director and Best Picture, and is often called one of the greatest Western movies ever made. $1 Million Baby in 2004 brought him the same success again, winning him Oscars in the same categories and proving he was one of the best filmmakers of his time. Other important movies he directed including Mystic River in 2003, Letters from Iwo Jima in 2006, American Sniper in 2014, and Sully in 2016 showed he could handle different types of movies with emotional depth and skill. His directing style, known for being efficient, minimalist, and focused on storytelling rather than big special effects, has earned him respect not only in Hollywood but across the world film community. Outside of his work career, Clint Eastwood has lived a life that's both complicated and unique. Known for being very independent, he's pursued personal interests in music, politics, and public service. He loves jazz music and has written and performed music for several of his films. In politics, he was mayor of Carmel, California from 1986 to 1988, showing his dedication to community service and his willingness to be a leader outside of the entertainment world. On December 19, 1953, Clint Eastwood married Maggie Johnson, a stunningly beautiful young woman who was working as a model at the time. Their wedding happened before Clint had become famous in Hollywood at all, making Maggie his partner through the difficult years of struggling and building his early career. The marriage lasted for more than 30 years, surviving the chaos of Clint's growing fame. his increasing reputation as a Hollywood leading man, and his more and more complicated personal life. Together, Clint and Maggie had 2 children. Their first child, Kyle Eastwood, was born in 1968 and went on to have a career as a respected jazz bassist and composer, making his own name in the music industry instead of following his dad into acting. Their second child, Allison Eastwood, was born in 1972 and later went into acting and directing, appearing in films and eventually working behind the camera. However, the marriage was often troubled by Clint's affairs with other women, which were well known in Hollywood circles. After years of problems, Clint and Maggie finally separated, and the divorce was finalized in 1984. Reports say that as part of the divorce settlement, Maggie Johnson got somewhere between $25 million and $30 million, a huge amount that showed both Clint's financial success by that time and how long their marriage had lasted. While still married to Maggie, Clint started a romantic relationship with dancer and actress Roxanne Tunis. Their relationship started in 1959 and continued until around 1973, happening at the same time as his marriage. It was during this relationship that Clint had his first known child outside of marriage, a daughter named Kimber, born in 1964. Kimber's existence wasn't publicly talked about at the time and stayed relatively private for many years. As Clint carefully managed his public image, Roxanne Tunis was known to have been part of the Hollywood scene as a stuntwoman and dancer, and her long-term connection to Clint suggested a relationship that was both romantic and work-related. The relationship eventually ended, but it was one of the most important early affairs in Clint's complicated romantic history. In 1975, Clint Eastwood started a new chapter in his personal life when he moved in with actress Sandra Locke. Their relationship was very public and lasted for nearly 14 years, during which time they appeared together in a bunch of films, including The Outlaw Josie Wales in 1976, Every Which Way But Loose in 1978, Bronco Billy in 1980, and Sudden Impact in 1983. That the couple's partnership wasn't just romantic, but also professional, with Sandra becoming a familiar face in Clint's films. 2 people on the outside, their relationship looked strong, but behind the scenes, it was full of problems. Clint was reportedly unfaithful during most of their time together, having multiple affairs and fathering at least 3 children with other women during this time. Sandra later talked publicly about how betrayed she felt, and their eventual breakup in April 1989 was ugly, leading to a series of lawsuits and public fights. The relationship with Sandra marked one of the most dramatic and widely talked about periods of Clint's romantic life, highlighting the contrast between his public image and private behavior. Among the affairs Clint had, while with Sandra, was a mostly secret relationship with Jocelyn Reeves, a flight attendant. Their romance was kept quiet for years, but it resulted in 2 children being born. Their son, Scott Eastwood, was born in 1986 and went on to follow his father's footsteps as an actor, appearing in films like The Longest Ride in 2015 and Pacific Rim Uprising in 2018. Their daughter, Catherine, was born in 1988 and pursued a career in screenwriting and some acting. The relationship with Jocelyn was kept secret, and Clint didn't publicly acknowledge Scott and Catherine as his children until many years later, making his family life even more complicated. After his long-term relationship with Sandra Locke ended in 1989, Clint started another high-profile romance, this time with actress Frances Fisher. Frances was a respected stage and screen actress, known for her fiery presence and her work in films like Unforgiven in 1992, where she appeared alongside Clint. The relationship was both professional and romantic, lasting several years and resulting in 1 daughter, Francesca, born in 1993. Francesca Eastwood grew up in the spotlight and later pursued a career in acting and modeling, becoming a recognizable public figure on her own. Although Clint's romance with Frances eventually ended, their relationship was seen as one of the more stable and loving partnerships in his life, compared to some of the more troubled ones that had happened before. At 95 years old, Clint Eastwood has lived long enough to watch entire generations of actors, directors, and cultural icons come and go. Throughout his decades-long career, Clint has rarely been someone to gossip or talk much about other Hollywood people. His reputation has always been about quiet dignity, a man who preferred to let his work speak louder than any interview or newspaper article. That's why when he finally decided to talk about fellow screen legend Robert Redford, the moment was really meaningful. Both men shaped American cinema in ways that very few others could match, and though their careers rarely crossed paths directly, their names have long been connected as symbols of lasting star power. Clint, who has often been careful with his